All right, ladies and gentlemen, at this time we're going to call to order the board meeting for Tuscaloosa City Schools. It is May 6, 2025. If everybody can stand for a brief period of silence, and we'll follow that by reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Attention, salute, pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, everyone may be seated. Good evening, everyone. Good evening, board. Good evening, Mr. Chair. All right, board. Item number 3, may I have a motion to adopt the May 6, 2025 regular board meeting agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? This agenda will be adopted. Board may have a motion to approve the minutes of the April 15th, 2025 regular board meeting and the minutes of the April 22nd, 2025 called board student hearing.
So moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Those will be approved. Item number 5, we will now recognize 2024 to 2025 Spring Superintendent's Be Amazing Writing Contest K through 12 grade level district winners. Dr. Pope, good evening, sir.
No, you're good.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Tonight, we are so excited to honor and recognize our winners for this spring 2024-25 Superintendent Essay Contest. And that spirit of continuing excellence in writing and writing across the content area is a focus for TCS. So tonight, we want you all to clap as I call those students' names and be reminded that we have 4 students not here, but we're still going to recognize them because it's a Wednesday and other activities are going on as well. So, Tuesday. My week is going fast, Tuesday. But I want to remind how we did this. Every school had to participate. Each student in the building had to write an essay. The essay was on Be Amazing and what it means to them. We had to up the antics a little bit for the second semester, and our grades K through 3, they wrote a persuasive essay, but the upper grades had to write an argumentative, and it was explaining why. So it wasn't necessarily just be amazing, but why you want to be amazing, why you should be amazing. So those prompts were more geared to higher order thinking and more rigorous writing. So as we call those names, remember, every student participated in every school. The schools ranked those by grade level, so all of our kindergarten students in every one of our schools were competing, and they actually were competing against each other. Same thing through 1st, 2nd, all the way to 12th grade. So these are our district level winners, and it's across our entire district. So kindergarten winner is from Oakdale Elementary School, Charlie Johnson. Back up. First grade is Maeve Cassidy from Tuscaloosa Magnet Elementary. And when I call your name, please come down. Thank you. Xavion Rivers, 2nd grade, Martin Luther King Jr. Elementary School. Keanu Norman, the Alberta School of Performing Arts, that's 3rd grade winner. Clap it up, everybody. 4th grade, our 4th grade district winner is Mason McBride from University Place Elementary School. Our 5th grade winner is Thompson Davis from Rock Quarry Elementary School. Our 6th grade winner is Allie Zing from Tuscaloosa Magnet Middle School. 7th grade winner is Emerald Zhang from Northridge Middle School. 8th grade winner is Kazara Hinton from Eastwood Middle School. Ninth grade winner is Xavier Anderson from Central High School. Our 10th grade winner is Jimmy Steverson from Central High School. And they clean too, y'all look up, check them out. Our 11th grade winners is Micaiah Crawford from Central High School. And our 12th grade district winner is LaDerrick Cotton from Central High School. So remember, as you look across this stage right now, these are our district level winners. They had to write a paper that is strongly about be amazing, because in Tuscaloosa City Schools, we're all about making things amazing, because we are all amazing and all of our students are amazing, but they have to make sure that we are writing just as amazing as we all are. So clap it up for this group of students. And again, I want to thank you all for doing this, but I want to hear from some people. So we're going to hear from two students. Our first student we're going to hear from is from Rock Quarry Elementary School, Thompson Davis. Come over here, Thompson. So you want to just tell us about what you wrote, how it made you feel, anything you want to share with the board and the people in the audience.
So I wrote about being amazing and how it's about being a good human being. And one of my favorite parts of the writing was I kind of like things about like the brain and how it works. So one of my favorite parts was writing about like how being amazing, just like how the chemicals in your brain worked when you're being amazing and things like that. Also, I was trying to go for it and just write a good thing.
See how amazing we are? We have one more want to share, 11th grader Micaiah Crawford. She's willing to share. She's right beside me. Okay, come over here. Bring it over here.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Micaiah Crawford, and I attend Central High School. And I just wrote about my transitioning from 8th grade to 9th grade in high school, and that was a really big thing for me, from losing friends to gaining friends and just finding myself and just being amazing altogether.
And before I continue thanking everyone, I want to thank the parents. So parents, if you please stand as well. Parents of these students. Our teachers and our principals as well. Our teachers, the principals had to guide and facilitate, since the principals, literacy coaches, and math coaches had to facilitate this process. I want to thank all of our schools for supporting and judging and doing an amazing job of supporting these students as they were writing. Again, because we want to make sure our writing skills are impeccable, and in order to do that, practice makes permanent. So in any opportunity that we have in Tuscaloosa City Schools, we'll be practicing writing appropriately. Thank you, board.
Dr. Pope, thank you. Thank you, teachers, for supporting this endeavor, and students, awesome job. The board loves seeing the successes that all of our students have, especially academically, because that's what school is all about. So congratulations. Writing is so important, so continue to hone your craft. And from the entire board, congratulations on your award. We appreciate you guys. Well done.
If I can add just one thing, I like to say to you, don't let this be the last time. Let this be the beginning of what you're going to do the rest of your life, because this is amazing for you to sit there and write that. But the books and things that you're going to write in the future are going to be even more amazing. So, as everyone has said, continue to write. Ladies, rest, but write.
Thank you, Dr. Pope.
Thank you, board. You all.
We are going to allow these students to come before the board, shake their hand, and then
We're gonna get a picture here, all right? We'll get one.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Stop on the end. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Congratulations, thank you.
Congratulations.
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 That's great work. Congratulations. Congratulations, great work.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you. Congratulations. I love your necklace.
Good job. Go this way, just to look over, give me one picture of all four of you, okay? Y'all are like, paparazzi.
Yeah.
Good job, guys.
Congratulations.
Okay, item number 6, we will now recognize the 2024 to 2025 Battle of Books Middle and Elementary School District winners. Dr. Pope?
Yes, sir. Board, let's continue that same spirit of clapping because we're recognizing something that started. We want to back up a little. We want to make sure our kids are also readers. And in order to do that, we have to ensure that they have a book in their hand and they're or reading some type of material. So the Battle of the Books was started 10 years ago or more, 10 years or more. But in the middle school, librarians worked together, rallied together to put this event on. And this year, they also added 2 elementary schools as pilots to work with those. And that was Rock Quarry and Burner. So I'm going to let the person that started all this, our library liaison, Dr. Andrew Maxey, introduce these winners for tonight. Dr. Maxey.
I'm too big to be blocking these kids. Y'all scoot down a little bit so the board can see your faces. You're amazing. Board members, if writing is exhaling, then reading is inhaling. They go together. Dr. Pope was exactly right. If we want to build strong writers, we need to build strong readers. Such credit to you as a board for valuing our school libraries over the years. But I want to start this evening by drawing attention and thanks to our school librarians who before this board and this superintendent said, we have to make extracurricular opportunities a thing, a priority for our kids. They were putting on this event more than 10 years ago. The last couple of years, every middle school in our district has sent the maximum number of teams to this event. So schools form teams of 5 students, up to 3 teams. They come to this building one day in the spring and they duke it out. If you've never heard of duking it out with a book, you've not been to Battle of the Books. It's a battle, right? There are tears, there's laughing. This year there was even an injury. No, worry, Dr. Derry, it was fine. It turned out fine. Overthinking, I don't know what that was all about. But we want to recognize the students from each of the 6 teams that advanced from the round robin to the elimination round. So I'm going to call all their names. As Dr. Pope said, it's a lot of activities tonight, so they're not all here. But students, when you hear your name, give a dramatic wave as if you know what drama is because you've been reading a long time. So because it's in order, we're going to go the way it is presented there. So first place in Battle of the Books, round robin, and then elimination tournament was Northridge Team 1. Those students are Emerald Zhang, who was both their top scorer and their team captain, Emery Fountain, Anastasia Glazer, Matt Hammonds, and Sophie Haustein. All right, help me out a little, Chris. I can't read behind the thing, and I should have been better prepared. Second place team was the first team from Magnet. Their captain was Anna Basto, and their top scorer was Will Sturrett. Addison Large, Barrett Maluk, and Delina Malays were also on the team. Congratulations. I know some of those kids, I'm gonna get yelled at for that very poor pronunciation. I'm sorry. Third place team went to one of the other Northridge teams. Zoe Ludwig was both their top scorer and the team captain. Olivia Balducci, Camille Johnson, Allie Stevens, and Nora Walker were the team. I don't know if you have noticed that Northridge Middle takes Battle of the Books pretty seriously. They grabbed the fourth spot as well. Victoire Ludwig was their top scorer. Addison Cole was their team captain. Sophia Glazer was on the team. Gina Kim and Chelsea King. In fifth place, another team from the Magnet School, Luke Poole, was both the top scorer and the team captain. Lottie Bryant, David Delaire, Neva Jane Reardon, and Eleanor Wingard. And let's be honest, all of us, the adults, are very excited to recognize TASPA, who made it into the elimination round this year and kicked butt along the way. Please join me in congratulating their team. Abigail Poe was their top scorer and team captain. Don't start clapping until I give you a hint here. Corinne Camp and Peyton Hill and Kendra Lovelace, you'll notice that a team of 4 beat 9 teams of 5 to make it into this round. Congratulations, TASPA. And then we quickly want to recognize all the top scorers from around the district, all the teams that participated. Keneal Gross, Karma Brown, and Shaunalee Utu, Marissa Rice, Will Sterrett, Luke Poole, Noliva Jumba, Emerald Zhang, Victoire Ludwig, Zoe Ludwig, Abigail Pohl, Zoe Hill, Gabby Gaspar Philippe, Jaden Lewis, and Leah Daughtry. Dr. Pope also correctly pointed out that this competition for the last 10 plus years has been between middle schools, and our elementary schools are feeling left out. And we as a district have not set up an elementary division yet, and 2 of our librarians said, fine, we'll do it ourselves. So they set this up, and I'm already in trouble for going too long, but I'll tell you that the impact that Battle of the Books has on a school, it can be felt in the school. Every year, when we announce the new books, there's a rush on those titles, and kids who don't even try out read the books. And kids, there's a kid in the room, there's an employee in the room who will tell you that their kid figured out that they were a reader and has gotten hooked on reading because their friends told them they need to be on Battle of the Books. It's not just a feel-good thing, which tonight makes us feel good. It's a powerful strategy for advancing the work we're trying to do. So kudos to this pioneering group of elementary kids who showed us the way, made us feel a little bit bad. We're going to have to pick up our game in the coming years. So in the head-to-head between Verner and Rock Quarry, First place was Verner Elementary, Jack Bradford, Milo Markham, Noah Newells, McCord Pate, and Rawson Stevens. And our final trailblazers was the Rock Quarry team, Rayan Badru, Sijai Bandi, Annabeth Coleman, Hosanna Siehe, and Jonathan John Victor. So, once again, thank you, board. Thank you, parents. Thank you for letting them stay late at school to practice. Thank you for getting them there. Thank you for supporting this work. We're really proud of our kids, and we're very thankful for the support you're putting into our children through Battle of the Books.
Hey, Dr. Maxey, can you give us an idea of like how the competition worked?
Absolutely. So each year, the librarians and a group picks 5 or 6 books, and it's essentially a quiz competition. So we have teams of 5. Right where you're sitting, we put 2 rows of tables, and around this hall, the moderators ask questions, students buzz in, answer questions. There's also a free response time where both teams get a piece of paper and you answer as many questions as you can. There's a round robin where every team plays several games, and then the scores of that determine which teams will advance into the elimination round, and then it's a bracket from there with the top teams advancing to play each other for the title of Battle of the Books champion for that year. Very impactful on our students. I have a child who participated in Battle of the Books as a 6th grader. I have a picture of me consoling her out in the hallway when she was heartbroken that in 6th grade she could only muster 2nd place with her team. And I just noticed last week at the Top 10 Scholars Dinner, she and 2 of her teammates from that team were there. I'm not saying it was Battle of the Books that made that happen, but it was there along the way.
Well, Dr. Maxey, we appreciate your efforts and your passion for all things reading. We appreciate all the librarians. You know, this board has really prioritized academic competitions, and this is the fruit of the labors, and we're so very proud of the entire system and all of our students for participating and excelling. So great job, students. We appreciate y'all.
Just like the writers, we're going to have a photo op over in the big room. Parents, you probably want to stay here and listen to the board, but we're going to be over there taking pictures of your kids. So the choice is up to you. We're headed that way.
Before you leave, Mr. Maxey.
Oh, sorry.
I know you talked about piloting the elementary, but in order to get middle school, you got to come through elementary. So whatever we do to training, you know, if we don't get that reading, and then that's just good practice to be a better person in middle school and high school. I think that's great that our librarians in our schools decided they wanted to try it. And I'm sure that Dr. Daria, Dr. Pope, and you gonna figure out a way, and the librarians, that we can get all those elementary schools involved.
Hey, where's McCord Pate? Which one of y'all? I want you to know how proud your dad was. He called me today and told me that you were gonna be on the stage, and he was super excited about what you and your team did.
All right, before you leave, children, we're going to start this way and go around to the front, and we're going to get a picture here first. So just go that way. And our BFF, Miss House, will tell you where to stand.
Congratulations. Good job. Good job.
Good job.
Good job, y'all.
Your dad all weekend.
Good job.
Any fish?
Good job, y'all. Chelsea. Good job. We need the 2 rows. You're not looking at us, I'm looking at you all. Thank you. Congratulations.
Thank you for being here. Congratulations. Thank you. Thank you. Congratulations.
It opened in 23. So this is 25.
Madison. Madison. Next year.
Good to see you.
Thank you all.
Appreciate you.
All right, item number 7, public comments on non-agenda items. No one has signed up, which brings us to item 8, informational reports from the superintendent. 8A, we will now receive the wireless device plan overview.
Mr. Chairman, board members, Dr. Pope is going to catch your breath and come present the overview.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
So, this is actually the Focus Act. So, House Bill 166, freeing our classrooms of unnecessary screens for safety act. So, we prohibit student wireless devices use during instructional time. Device must be powered off and stored in a district approved manner. The internet safety instructions have to be done before 8th grade. Also, internet safety policy has to be updated. Mandates annual staff surveys on implementation and effective this coming school year 25-26, pending legislative action. So as TCS, this is where we are with our policy as stated during the school day, recognizing that those devices must be turned off and stored in a district approved manner, where it's a box or whatever, but being very clear on what we're talking about. It's not only cell phones. It's cell phones, laptops, iPads, smartwatches, any device that can transmit or receive voice, text, image, or any data signals. So it cannot be kept on that person. We do have some exceptions to the rules, documentation of any medical issues or needs, if they're IEP or 504 accommodations, and any emergency that's determined by the staff, and directional, if it's direct instructional use that's authorized by the teacher or any certified staff member. Okay, so in order to do this, we also had to update our code of conduct. In our code of conduct, it is having to revise what is defined as wireless devices. Because when you hear wireless device, most people automatically think of the cell phone. Well, it's anything that can do any of those things I mentioned earlier, transmitting through voice, texting, pictures, those things. So think of a laptop, iPad. All of us wear smartwatches now. All those devices cannot be in place. So our code of conduct is actually updated to align with the bill and also with the policy. And dealing with the consequences, it's been updated to address classes 1 through 3. In any violation, those consequences will fall into class 1, 2, or 3. And it allows the administrator for some discretion, but we want to ensure we have consistency across the schools. So not one school doing one thing, another school doing another thing. So the team has put together guidelines for what it looks like, and it falls under one of those classes. To ensure that the state is going to send us a mandatory training for orientation and social media safety, that's also been updated into the code of conduct as well, and it explicitly prohibits any type of social media during the school day. So unless a teacher has directly instructed students to go on social media or use any wireless device, those things are prohibited, and it is within our code of conduct. So before I go to the communication plan, in our code book, it's been updated that we have BYOD, so bring your own device. We're deleting that language from the code to align our practices with this bill. Dr. Wilson Daphne is going to walk us through our communication plan.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Okay, because this is such a big change, we want to make sure that we are very thorough and intentional about how this is communicated to parents, teachers, and all stakeholders. So our PR team has come up with a comprehensive plan that stretches from April to August and throughout the next school year. You've probably already seen that graphic that's on that slide, included in some principals' communications. In the next coming weeks, there will be a social media campaign as well as a launch of some of the anticipated answers to some of the anticipated pushback with the FAQ launch. In July, there will be a postcard mailer, press release, as well as media coverage. In August, there will be handouts at events and a final push, as well as a what to expect video that will go out to stakeholders. And this will be implemented and reinforced throughout the year with ongoing reminders, with signage and social media and principal newsletters. So compliance monitoring to ensure that this plan is implemented equitably across all schools, and as well as to identify any spots where we can provide supports to schools. There will be a mix of district and school level compliance monitoring. Starting in August, in those first 4 weeks where we're rolling this out, we're expecting for administrators to complete walkthroughs during especially those high traffic points of the day, lunch and transitions. Teachers to be on the lookout for cell phone and device use. We're going to survey the staffs to see how this is going and see what we can do to adjust. Make sure there's signage and clear expectations posted throughout the school, and as well as principals' weekly reflections of how this is going in their building for those first 4 weeks. Following those first 4 weeks, we will do ongoing monitoring with monthly admin spot checks, quarterly district walkthroughs, track phone-related discipline trends, mid-year and end of the year feedback surveys, as well as providing support and refreshers and PD where needed. So what does this look like in schools? So school level logistics, elementary, the expectation is for these devices to be powered off and placed in the backpack throughout the day. Teachers are to remind students of the expectation and make sure that it is being followed throughout the day. At dismissal, students will be able to access and power on their phones again. Middle school and high school is a little bit different. We plan to implement the Yonder pouches and have those pouches stored in backpacks throughout the day. We'll need staff to verify that phones are powered off and stored in pouches. And throughout the day, just remain vigilant on and checking to make sure that it's happening. Administrators are being asked to address any violations according to the code of conduct, as well as to just inspect that expectation regularly. And during dismissal, there will be unlocking stations for students to gain access to their devices again. There are some special considerations that have come up. Dual enrollment in TCTA, so students who may leave campuses to travel to other sites, they may unlock their devices while they're traveling, but once they enter a TCS building, they will have to lock those devices again. And as always, school phones remain available for parent-student communication in the case of an emergency. The Yonder pouch. Mr. Jenks has a few Yonder pouches so that we can see what they are and how they work. So as he's making his way to you, all secondary schools will be expected to implement the Yonder pouch as their storage solution for this coming school year. The expectation is for students' devices to remain in those pouches from the start of the instructional day until the end, and they'll be unlocked during dismissal. To assist with the logistics of how this works and what works best for each site, the vendor, the Yonder Pouch company, will provide on-site support to help us create a plan for smooth implementation. Go ahead.
And Chris probably gonna explain this more too. So the ones you all have, the ones that are like locked, those are the ones that we're leaning towards for all of our students. The ones with Velcro are the ones that we may have exceptionalities, those students that have medical issues that they need to get to, but is not not locked up, because you notice he has that locking in front of Mr. Wilson and between Mr. Wilson and Mr. Hammond. That's the unlocking device. So it's, hopefully they'll be placed in our classrooms. I think Chris says on the walls in the building. We have areas. It's the best design is for it to be posted so they can go to it, unlock it as they are leaving or entering the building. And Yonder will be providing, if we go through this process, Yonder will be providing more PD professional development and more insight on what it looks like for implementation as we are utilizing this.
I know this is all new, obviously, but do you have any early anticipated time efficiency problems with, like, how long is it gonna take?
That's the part where Yonder is helping us with developing. If you look into the packet, there are some implementation plans of the Yonder Pouch implementation part, where the design of what it looks like for the beginning of the school, so school level part, but they're giving us the, like a timeline of how much it takes to do it in the mornings, to get that whole process. At least we have some type of estimate of what it normally takes for a school size that we have.
How many of the unlocking stations come with the Yonder purchase?
Chris.
So it varies in number based on the size of the building, but you would obviously want to have more for larger buildings, for high schools. The one that I'm holding in my hand now is a mobile base, so if you needed to leave the building, for example, in an evacuation scenario where you don't want to gang up at the door trying to unlock devices, you would take this one outside and be able to unlock devices once you got to your area, to be able to have students contact parents as necessary, that kind of thing. But you'd have multiple ones to be about. You saw how long it took for me just to open the single pouch, just by bouncing it off the magnet, and then you're able to open it and move on. But that will take, as with anything else, take a little bit of practice and getting used to. So.
Did we cover who was covering the cost? I mean, this is something the state is mandating, correct? So I was just looking for the state grant.
So, good question. So I want to hit a couple of things that definitely was said. Is this is not yet final, but this team, and thanks to a lot of contributions from a larger group, have put together what we think is the most ideal way to implement this. The Yonder pouches that Chris is going over, those aren't required by the law. what we see in the law is that the students can't have them on their person. This seems to comply with that and allows our teachers to have a tool to use. So there's nothing in the law that then says, here's funding source to help with compliance. That said, advancement in technology and other funds that we're seeing coming in from the state is where we would pull from to use this. Currently, some schools use like cell phone lockers. That's okay, that's an option. But we see this as a possibility. And I want to conclude with this piece. So tonight, after this briefing, you have 2 cell phone actions. One is the code of conduct, which is a first reading. We can come back and revise it between now and the second reading. Of course, a lot of that is based on what we believe will be the final law. The last thing you have is on this board is the yonder pouches. And the reason we kind of moved somewhat fast on this is we believe the rest of the state will be looking at these as a solution to help implement. If we still have a lot of questions on yonder, which we understand if you do, we can move that purchase to May 20. We just didn't want to be on the later part of this in purchasing these things. There will be a lot of, and I think our team has incorporated that into their plan. We're gonna have to do a lot of spot checks to see how we need to adjust this as we go on. But to answer your question shortly is, we'd have to use funds that are coming in from the state, i.e. advancement in technology funds.
So did we have an estimate?
It'll be in the 167,000, is that correct? 167,000 only for this secondary.
Just
students.
short of 164, I think.
Okay. It's in your report later tonight in one of the agenda items.
See that coming?
So the expectation is for our team, staff, employees, this is another morning barrier that they kind of have to endure. So I'm looking at it, the buses, first day of school, when it's just hectic, the first week of school. We got to stop, get them off the bus, especially high schoolers, lock stuff down, and then get to the classroom.
In that plan, there's a method by which our students will come in. For example, the first day, they'll get their pouches. We'll go through an orientation on how to use the pouches. So that won't all have to happen the minute one. So in that plan, there's an implementation where the schools would deploy that in a way that's functional and that's effective. But again, we'll have some hiccups along the way, and we'll learn from it. What we are going to do is make sure we comply with what will soon be a law.
And then is there any thought on doing, and this is more of just PR, joint communication between us and the county, as in this is just a policy that affects all of us. So it's not just, we are not creating this, but it is something that has to be instituted throughout. So the more media that just says this is a state mandate, that it's not just us, the more we're all together on one accord, helps communication in my mind. That's just a thought, because it's going to not resonate until the first day of school and the second day and the third day. And then the more, people are aware is you're taking my child's phone, but, it's just not our system. It is all systems. And to me, the more we maybe just kind of, we got to do our own thing, but just having some unique collaborative.
Ms. Avant works closely with Ms. Brewer in the county. And our standard on this, and you'll see it in the communication plan, is to over-communicate and early. We don't want to wait till August for people to hear this for the first time. And that's why you've already seen kind of a dribble campaign with information going out. And then when it becomes law officially, which we expect to be soon, we'll hit the throttle pretty heavy on communications.
So we also have some cell phone expectations, because we're talking about the kids cannot have their phones out. So, we're dealing with adults, but still personal devices with our adults we're asking for. It should not interfere with their supervision or instruction or their duties. And of course, limit personal calls and texts while you're during instructional time, and devices should be on silent or vibrate during that school day. So we have adult wireless device guidelines as well, because we want to make sure that we're being good models to those students as well. I do want to put out that we do have some schools that already have somewhat doing this every morning. So it's a daily practice anyway, doing it for the last 2 years. So, and it's been working. So that whole focus part There are less interruptions, less kids on videos and social media, especially when they go outside of the classroom and other areas. So we put together a frequently asked questions page, and this document are things that we just thought may come up based on what we've been hearing. Most of our team members going into schools, he lists the teachers. I think all of us are hearing some type of information from from parents and from other adults in other districts. So these questions here, just the big things. We continue making sure that if parents push back, going back to the goal is to focus on learning, to direct concerns to the school leader. You have the documents of every piece of the puzzle for communication. There's a principal document as well, so it's informing the principals on what they should be talking about, how they can know where the support is, and any questions they may have. There's a principal support page there, so our goal is making sure that they know how to respond. If there's an emergency, a lot of parents ask, okay, what happens if there's an emergency? Our kids have access to the phones in all of our schools. Under the staff direction, they can use the phone. We also provide those automated alerts to our families and parents as well. Can the students use phones for learning? Only if the teacher asks for it and supports their learning for that particular lesson, it may call for that device to be utilized. Our teachers are responsible for enforcing the policy. This is a joint effort. This is sharing responsibility, not just the teachers, but all stakeholders, ensuring that we are all enforcing. Administrators are providing the policies and providing the procedures, and they are providing support and oversight. And just making sure is this policy fair for all students. We're looking at those exceptions to the rules, whether it's IEP, medical reasons, those things, and how will phones be stored. We mentioned earlier with our recommendation is the Yonder pouches, so it's something that is uniform for all students and something that we know that works and other districts have utilized, and we did research on it. And for those locations for lockers or backpacks for those those early years. And communication, again, I think we have a great communication plan. Dr. Derry mentioned earlier, we're saturating this out early as possible. I think it was in one of the school s'mores all last week, just putting that signage out there so most people know what's coming up, so it won't be all of a sudden thing. Any other questions?
What about in the cafeteria during lunch period, and what about physical education?
No, it would be in a pouch.
In one of the versions of the bill early on, it had a break of some sort, if I recall correctly, and I think that was removed at some point. So it's the instructional day. Buses, obviously, that's the end of the day, but lunch, hall changes, things of that nature are identified as the instructional day.
And once again, to sort of reiterate what Dr. Karen Thompson-Jackson said, that's from the state, not from the district.
And I want to add again that laptops going to be, like most of our schools, our students bring their own laptops. Where those personal devices, no. TCS provides district level devices, so we have devices for them, so they cannot use their personal laptops. And that's going to be one of the biggie issues for our students, because I know most people like me, I'm an Apple person, so I want my MacBook with me, and most of those kids want their MacBooks, so it's going to be a switch from Mac to Chromebook. So that's going to be one thing that we're going to continue pushing. The team is working with the schools to ensure they understand it's not only cell phones, but iPads, watches, the laptops, and those things as well. And we had to put on wireless just because we start thinking, if y'all notice, they're Google glasses, those are Ray-Ban glasses that have the technology in there, so it's so many other devices out there. So our standardization is anything that can transmit, receive those voice or send any type of signal. Those are the devices that we're prohibiting.
For the kids, I'm anticipating an ugly conversation at my own home between my daughter and I about the laptop thing. For the kids who do prefer their own device, in that case, Google Sheets is a pretty good answer in that they can be using their Chromebook at school, and if they save their work where in Google Sheets, they just pick it up on their own laptop
Right.
when they get home, which is presumably where they're doing the bulk of their homework
Exactly.
anyway.
And we
So-
had this conversation this morning, which made me even think further after our meeting, was getting with Dr. Maxey and Mr. Jinks of putting something out there, especially from Mr. Jinks' department, of all the compatibility components that, like what you just mentioned, Google Sheets, Google Doc, Google, so it's all those things you can work in it, and if you like doing your work, especially with dual enrollment students, they do most of their work at home or other locations, but they can upload to those things, work in Google Sheets, work in Google Doc, and even Google Slides. All those things is in our Google platform, so they can always have access to it.
And were you saying that even the glasses will be?
If they can transmit and do those signals, yes.
Do the pouches come in different sizes, or is that it? That's gonna be, we're gonna outgrow that pretty quick if you start.
That's it. We only doing the pouch for the cell phone and possibly like their watches. Everything else, put away, keep out, don't bring to school. And we know, we even in our implementation things, we're anticipating, we all been doing this and for years, we're anticipating what those things can happen. So we're gonna be, that first couple of months gonna be like working, trying to get the kinks out. But the pouches are only for cell phones, and hopefully no cell phone is big as that pouch or something. Hopefully not.
Two things. One, you just said the Apple Watch. Like half our kids have Apple Watches.
It's gonna be in that pouch, according to the bill, or they can't bring it.
Yeah.
This is gonna be a.
So, what school?
Yeah.
You said you had a school or schools that were
Schools.
already sort of piloting. What schools?
West Lawn, Taspa, Eastwood, most of our middle schools, and it was one high school, was it? TCTA here, TCTA.
So they just ask them to put it away, or they have a pouch? Or
They have a whole plan. Now, they have lockers here. They have little lockers at TCTA, but at West Lawn, the way they explained to me, it's like a morning routine. It's automatic because they've been doing it so long. It's a system. They just approach in the morning. They know where to go. They place it in there. It's like old school. I think it's like in a box. I think she told me it's like in a box in their homeroom, and they just put it there. Whereas now, power off, put it into the pouch and do it that way. But those are the schools that when we mentioned to us, they're like, we're already doing it, so there's no problem. And they also told us about how much disruption has been lessened because of that.
And piggybacking on Mr. Hammer's question, the purpose of the pouch is to allow the student to maintain physical possession of the device while not being able to use it. There would be no reason to have the laptop there in a pouch, because they're not going to be able to use that during the instructional day at all at any time, because we're not trying to support that. So we're not going to have an additional pouch for that piece. The smartwatch will fit in the same pouch as the cell phone. We've tested that, and a smartwatch will go in with an iPhone 16 Pro. So it will fit that at the same time. So get one pouch per person.
Any more questions?
Thank you, Dr. Pope.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, tonight we do not have a report from Mr. J. Duke, so that'll bring us to item 9, introductions of motions, resolutions for a first reading. 9A, receive, discuss first reading of the 2025 to 2026 Tuscaloosa City School Academic Guide. It's your night tonight, Dr. Pope.
Let's see. So good evening, board, again. This is the first reading of the 25-26 academic guide, and most of the parts in here are either state mandated or errors that we found that needs to be corrected. For instance, on update on page 9 to include the times for the subjects for elementary students. Thank you, Mr. Hamner, for letting us know that. That change was update on page 9 for health. Instead of 150 minutes a day, it's supposed to be 60 minutes weekly. and most schools do 15 minutes daily, state law. So those things were updated. Adding CCRI as a graduation requirement for 25-26 is in, for that's coming up, is on page 30. The civics exam, that requirement is there, so those are requirements. But those two things I wanted to make sure we hit, and that was, it starts on page 30, and it is it's another bill, and it's dealing with the Workforce Pathways Diploma. And this is where there's an option A and an option B. And I want to emphasize there's only one diploma. This is just another pathway. This pathway is designed for the workforce pathway, whereas option B would require students, instead of having 4 maths, they would only have 2. Same thing with the science. They will only have 2 versus 4. And in its place, they will have 6.5 electives versus the 2.5 electives on option A. Option A is our pathway, the typical pathway. Option B is the workforce pathway, and that is designed to support those students that are going directly into the workforce. That's the one thing that's changed on, it starts on page 30, I think it goes to page 37. We're also updating the dual enrollment language to align with House Bill 102. And in this is basically the way the House Bill 102 is saying that if you ever seen the list of all post-secondary courses, there's a list of an exhaustive list of all courses that students can take for dual enrollment and for dual credit, where the state has now said students can take any of those courses and get the dual enrollment credit for it. So we had to update our academic guide to reflect it. However, our crosswalk is still in place, because our crosswalk is designed to reflect if the students take the courses that's in our crosswalk, they get weighted credit for it, versus they choosing something off the crosswalk that is in that catalog, they'll still get dual enrollment credit, but they will not get the weighted credit that's calculated for their transcript. Those were, and we, throughout, there was the update for CTE program pathways to include the State Department's guidelines for stakeholders, is on page 45 through 54. But the other ones are percentages for the grade needed for students in credit recovery. If the old language stated that if they had to have an 80 to pass, where if they make a 60 in any other level, they pass, but they can't. So this particular course, this language is correcting, stating that they can pass with a 60. However, they're still keeping that 70 as the highest grade they can make for credit recovery for that particular course. Any questions?
The only thing that I saw when I attempted to finish reading half of this was we need to correct the time on what time we start our board meeting.
It's updated. Yes, the
Well,
new,
I
if you, if you look, it's updated to 5:30. It should be 2, the red line one, and the clean copy, 5:30 is in there.
Make sure I printed it.
Yes, ma'am.
And I was
We've been
like,
working all day to make sure it was correct, so we've been finding places where we gotta
nobody
update.
at 6 o'clock looking for us.
We made sure, yes, ma'am. Any other questions?
And this is a first reading board, so specific questions that you may come across in the next couple of weeks, please reach out to Dr. Pope or Dr. Daria directly. Thank you, Dr. Pope.
Thank you.
Item 9B, receive, discuss first reading of the 2025 to 2026 Parent-Student Code of Conduct and Resource Guide Drug Screening Policy.
Yes, board. On this one, I'm gonna go line by line so we can kind of go through it. We made some changes, very minimal, but most of it was dealing with under Stars Academy, the name changed to Children's Center and Stars Academy at New Heights. The hours changed to 8:10 to 3:10. Under virtual learning, there was a change from grades 6 through 12 to reflect kindergarten through 12th grade. We do have special circumstances that our elementary students are needing to be placed on virtual. On pages 16 through 24, this is revision based on what we noted earlier with the Focus Act. We're dealing with the cell phones, the wireless devices. Change all instances of personal technology device to wireless communication device. Change anywhere was saying PTD to WCD, and updated the definitions for cell phones and wireless communication devices. Also updated the restricted material on the internet to include protections and the measures there for those things. Added the section about social media on page 20, and we deleted bring your own technology. That section was also deleted. Under student medication procedures on page 31, added the language about what the employee must successfully complete under for the seizure curriculum. That statement is on page 31. On page 34, student complaints and grievances, that policy number, instead of 4.62, the correct is 4.06. On page 41, all class 3 infractions should be reviewed by the Office of Student Services. That was an update there. There was on page 45 for this specific offenses under class 3, possession or use of tobacco or vaping products was a class 3.64. It is now a class 2, which is 2.49. So the statement was added there, and also the protocol for any disciplinary action related to that offense is also outlined in the appendix. Administrative responses on page 48 through 49, deleted some sections there for elementary schools and middle and high schools. On page 51, the disciplinary appeals procedure, this section moved immediately following the definitions of administrative responses for clarity in the process. So that whole piece of what the appeals process looks like. On page 52, the procedure for particular disciplinary dispositions for STARS Academy, there was correction made to reflect that the local school principal can refer to the alternative program and the principal of STARS Academy to decrease the time that students are placed there. 504 on page 54, there was an added section there for disciplinary procedures for those students. And then pages 58 through 68, we added some forms in the appendix, and those forms were related to addressing the tobacco and vape related incidents and any of the forms for consequences for the wireless communication devices. Have any questions?
Okay, board, this is the first reading, but any questions tonight for Dr. Pope? All right, thank you, Dr. Pope.
Thank you.
Item 10 is the consent agenda. We have consent agenda items 10A, 10B, and 10C with subparts. Board, may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Each of those items will be approved. Brings us to item 11, regular agenda items for final adoption. 11A, approve superintendent's recommendation regarding changes in personnel. Dr. Cameron?
Good evening. I have the superintendent's changes regarding personnel, and also have the supplemental list. It is a large list, so if you need me to stop at any time. Yes, we've killed a mini forest tonight. All right, I will start on page 1. You have 2 retirements, and you have, 14 resignations. You have 1 new support personnel, 2 new certified personnel, 3 transfer of certified personnel, 6 reassignments, 1 rehire, 1 improving of a 1-year probationary principal pursuant to the Teacher Accountability Act, 17 part-time extended day tutors. You have 2 curriculum development for the Saban Center. You have 1 24-day contract extension for the summer, 1 interim reassignment. You have 273 24-25 spring semester academic incentives. Carries us to page 10. On page 10, you have 110 24-25 spring semester mentor supplements. Which carries us to page 14. You have 5 24-25 spring semester national board system leads, 5 24-25 spring semester district teacher leads, 10 24-25 spring semester district team leads. You have 12 24-25 spring semester ambassadors. On page 15, you have 9 24-25 spring semester for fine arts. You have 37 24-25 spring semester clinical master teachers. On page 16, you have 93 literacy liaison stipends. Which carries us to page 19. You have 93 Summer Learning Academy contingent upon student enrollment. Take a breath, we'll go to supplemental list. So that that purple sheet. You have 1 retirement, 3 resignations, 1 change in a resignation date, 3 new certified personnel, 1 transfer of certified personnel, 1 termination of a probationary classified employee pursuant to the Students First Act, 2 part-time extended day tutors, 1 request for a leave of absence, 2 24-25 spring semester academic incentives, 14 24-25 spring semester National Board Candidate Support Providers, 132 Summer Learning Academy contingent upon student enrollment, that takes us to the end.
Okay, board, any set-asides for a separate vote? Last call for set-asides for a separate vote. Okay, hearing no set-asides, board may I have a motion to approve the superintendent's recommendations.
So, second.
Questions or discussion for Dr. Cameron?
I'm excited about 30, that's all.
Ditto.
Any other questions or discussion? Call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Each of those will be approved. Item 11B, discuss approve revision of the coordinator of transportation job description. Dr. Cameron.
Just a few technical revisions here. It was last revised in 2002. This change will allow us to broaden our candidate pool that we have for this position, and just a few other minor details on the revisions of this job description that are highlighted in yellow for you.
All right, board may I have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Questions or discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? That'll be approved. Thank you, Dr. Cameron. Item 11C, discuss approve Tuscaloosa Zone Case Manager job description. Dr. Cameron.
Yes, sir. So this case manager will be responsible for lead for the families identified in the zone for this initial year. It's going to act as a liaison between TCS, New Heights, and their Community Resource Center, and their partners, the City of Tuscaloosa, United Way, and any other stakeholders we may have. The funding is for the first 3 years, the United Way at $90,000 a year.
All right, board, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Questions or discussion? What was that, Mr. Simmons?
So that's a big win, big victory for us.
Any other questions? Call for a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? That'll be approved. Item number 11D, discuss approve 25 to 26 skilled trades of West Alabama, memorandum of understanding for electrical program at TCTA. Dr. Pope?
Yes, Board, this is an MOU for the electrical program here at TCTA, working with the skills trades of West Alabama. And this is to provide the apprenticeship and pre-apprenticeship programs for our TCTA students at the level that's level 1, 2, 3 classroom and lab instruction. It's an alternative education program, workshops and employment opportunities for the communities, and is to develop those students as a pre-apprentice or apprentice for the area of electrical, NCCER electrical level. This is from Monday through Thursday, including instruction and administrative costs at $72,000 per year. Any questions?
Our board may have a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any questions or discussion for Dr. Pope? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Would be approved. Thank you, sir. 11E, discuss approved purchase of Yonder wireless device pouches.
Yes, sir. Board, this recommendation is to approve the Yonder pouches that we previously mentioned, that you all got a chance to look at. This total for the to support our entire district thus far with equipment, planning support, and shipping is $163,647.75. And we will be using, if this recommendation goes through and approved, we will be using these for the secondary schools for 25-26 school year. Any questions?
All right, board, may I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second?
Questions, discussion?
Will these be, are we gonna have to buy new ones every year, or do we anticipate, I mean, I guess my question is about the durability of them. Will we be able to, kids hang on from year to year?
In my conversation, we met previously right before this, and the conversation was for it not to go home. So it would be, Chris, we talked about this with there's a spot, like a window in front of it that we can put a card in. So it could be something that could be used over years. The durability, I don't know the years of the durability that it has.
According to the owner vendor, they last 3 to 5 years based on normal wear and tear.
Everyday use,
Yes.
3 to 5 years.
2 years.
Are these for the Velcro or the electronic?
This is a purchase for both, right? We have some Velcro and some for the, because the Velcro is only going to be for the exceptions to the rule. Majority of our kids will have the ones that are the click, the lock. Yes, sir.
What other discussed alternatives to the Yonder pouches have been had?
You were saying something? Okay. We discussed like they're currently doing is not the most safe and locked up procedure. Putting in lockers, it can't be on them, so it can't have secondary students putting them in their backpacks because according to the bill, it states it cannot be on the person. So we have had those conversations, and when we had those going back and thinking about it, the Yonder pouches were the best option for what we need.
board members, so I'm go back to what I said earlier. If you want another couple weeks to hear and think on this one, we're okay with that. We don't want to be in the later part of ordering these things. I think our team feels comfortable enough with this helping us comply with the pending law. So we're comfortable going ahead and making the purchase this evening, but we threw a lot at you tonight based on what we understand to be the law. So if you say you want another couple weeks, or we can come back in a week maybe, but we don't want to rush it. If you feel like you need to hear more or know more, that is okay. We just don't want to order these things in June and July, because I worry we won't get them in time for school. And if we're going to start with these, we want to start day 1 with these, not day 21 with these.
To clarify, you said they can't be on their person, but if they're in a yonder bag, they're gonna be on their person?
No, will be actually taken up. It cannot be on them.
Mr. Jenks is actually, all of that is correct. So Mr. Jenks is seeking clarification from folks to make sure that these do qualify, even though the bill as it is not written that way, the spirit of it is. So Chris, if you want to quickly give your brief on that.
So in addition to serving as Director of Technology for the Tuscaloosa City Schools, I serve as the President of the Alabama Leaders for Educational Technology. And we have an advocate who works with the legislator, and we reached out when we looked at that language in the bill. We reached out to both of the sponsors of the companion bills and asked them for clarity, because as you point out, if it's in the yonder pouch and in their backpack, to me that says it's on their person. But both of the sponsors feel that the yonder pouches meet the not on their person burden. It may be that the governor enters a line item amendment to clarify that when she is in the signature process, but I don't know that for sure. But it is our understanding from the legislators who wrote the legislation that this solution qualifies under that.
When you say go ahead, did I interrupt?
No.
When
That
you
it
say
passes
qualifies,
muster,
if
meaning
if it's in the yonder pouch, it can be on their person, like.
So
correct?
it would be in their backpack or something like that. Our policy, which is what the legal mechanism requires us to have a policy that deals with these things. Our policy specifically says it can't be in their clothing, like it can't be in your jacket and on your person. It needs to be stored in a bag or something like that. So a purse or a backpack puts it far enough off of their person plus inside the yonder pouch.
Yeah, because if you don't keep it on the backpack when you get to the secondary schools, getting it back at the end of the day or even at the end of class, it's gonna be a horse show.
Right.
Logistically, if you
But if you allow them to keep it, and the idea of the yonder pouch is you can't use it because it's locked up, that's the spirit versus the dialect or the dialogue.
Right. And the language in the bill was a 10-minute break, that they might have access for 10 minutes, but in a secondary school, logistically, locking and unlocking for 10 minutes is just an impossibility.
You get my phone, I get your phone, he gets her phone. Scottsdale.
More questions?
No.
You need more time?
No.
Okay. Anybody need more time?
I hate the whole idea, but I'm I know it has to be done. Just to be honest, I think children know. I told Dr. Derry, it would help with, keeping down. I just use Casper for instance. Some of the girls was getting in trouble, and she took, before this even came, she's like, oh, let me get the phones. I'm gonna make sure y'all don't get in trouble. So I get it, but then I think about on the security piece or the bus piece, which we are handling that, with the buses, but something could happen and someone needs their phone, So it's a double-edged sword, it's just I'm not a fan of it, but I'm gonna do what I have to do, to make sure we comply with the state law.
Okay, any other questions before I call for a vote? Call for a vote, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? That'll be approved. Thank you, sir.
Good job, Chris.
Thank you.
11F, discuss approve amended contract for superintendent board. Go ahead, Mr. Ryan.
Board members, Dr. Darius signed an extended contract in 2022 with a 5-year term that ended 30 June 2027. I believe that was the second extension of his original contract. And now at his request, he would like to amend that contract to shorten it by 1 year. So his contract will end 30 June 2026. And despite my best efforts, I have not been able to get him to engage in discussing an extension for a third contract beyond that date. So what we are doing tonight is shortening the superintendent's contract to end in about 13, 14 months, at which point he will have his well-earned retirement from the Tuscaloosa City School System, and we will start with a new superintendent.
Okay, board, may I have a motion to approve?
Reluctantly, yes.
Don't nobody say amen.
Says the guy who's not even gonna be here.
Right.
Don't make him sweat. There's a motion failed yet.
We do have a motion, we don't have a second yet. Do we just need to adjourn? Do I have a second?
Should come from the oldest person.
Second.
We have a motion, we have a second. Do we have any questions or discussion?
Wow.
How many years?
You have to ask him. He's so old, I can't keep up.
How many years?
Completing next year will be 30 with the Tuscaloosa City Schools, 31 in total.
So, we know what's on the horizon, so it'll be incumbent upon us and Mr. Ryan to get together and start thinking about June 30th of 2026. So I'll call for a vote. All in favor?
Steve? Aye.
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 Reluctantly.
Well deserved.
Anybody opposed?
Well deserved.
No opposition? That'll pass. Thank you, board.
Can I say something? We just glad it's not this year.
That's right. Better than the alternative. Item 12, unfinished business to attend to, of which there is none, which brings us to general announcements. Don't forget, we have high school graduation on Friday, starting at 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock.
And reluctantly, we have
Erskine, you heard that?
only other announcement is another reluctance. After 1,984 documented hours of service, this is Mr. Hamner's last official board meeting. And
Thank you.
we love you.
Thank you. Appreciate all you. Thank you for
Any words for Mr. Hamner?
From
Yes.
Mr. Yes, go ahead, Liz. You did it first.
I just want to say that I hope that the people of TCS, the parents, the staff, the faculty, I hope everybody knows what an asset they've had in Patrick over the last 8 years. And he has always been there with a smile, with a helpful word of encouragement. And what I think will be the biggest loss, or what I have always admired about him, are the discussions that we all have, some more heated than others, but all 8 of us can be talking about something and we're just kind of get to the point where we feel stuck about it. And then Patrick's just been quiet the whole time and he says, well, did you ever think of this? And it was the answer we were looking for the whole time. And I just don't know what we're gonna do without that. So.
Baldy is what I call him. Patrick. We've been on this board a long time together, and this board is like family, and I went crazy over Patrick when I was leaving my neighborhood, and his wife was serving Meals on Wheels. I said, that look like Patrick, and it was him, you know, and to not have nothing to do on Saturday, he's out serving the community, speaks volumes about him, and just all of our interactions to disagree, which hasn't been a lot of times, but we end up talking after, and he's just that person that I'm glad I met. And even now, in a personal situation, he's just just that person. And so you are definitely gonna be missed by me. My family love you. And only thing I don't like about Patrick, he never went to certain places we wanted him to go on in June. But other than that, he has been an awesome board member. Always saying, I know this sound corny, but he asks a lot of questions and brings a lot to the table. I hate to see you go. We begged him to stay. But you will be missed from the board, but we'll still be family.
Yep, and I think, me and you sit there and roll to see us up on contract, done those things, your experience in finance. Each board member on this board brings a unique something to the board, and yours with the background in finance and working through those little difficult things has really been a big help to our board. It's gonna be missed. And don't worry though, I still got your phone number. Know where you work, know where you live. I'm gonna be calling on you because we still gonna need you. Plus, reading allies, still need you to read. Reading buddies, those kids at those schools, they just love you so much, they're reading well. And so the things that you've done for our system to take us to another level, it's just been outstanding. So thank you.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Hamner, thank you. We're a better school system because of your service. Your ability to see where we're going and understand the perspective of the people we serve is absolutely amazing. And when I say you have made us a better school system, it comes from your curiosity about the people we serve and how do we serve them better, and asking us the questions that we need to be asked. School system, it makes us think deeper, it makes us think better. I am often nervous about your questions though, because it requires a lot of deep thinking and math. And even though you value your finance background, you also fill in the role of understanding what educators need because you care about what they're doing and what kids need. And we are immensely grateful for your service. We truly are a better school system because of your service. And I thank you, and we thank you.
The times, the last, are so embedded in my mind. I promise you, I will never forget Patrick Hammer. I will never forget.
Any specific breakfast meetings?
What we see before you, meetings in and meetings out, everyone get to see that person that you are. But the intimate conversations that we've had, a whole lot of people don't get to see the heart that you have. And that speaks volumes of the person you are. When Eric told me this morning, he says, yeah, this is how few explicits naturally. But I was taken back. I was speechless. And I tried to prepare myself for this. And even coming in tonight, when I left the house, gave my wife a hug, and she says, "Oh yeah, get one more hug. Give this to Patrick for me." And I kissed her on the cheek and I patted her on the backside. And then she said, "Well, don't do that to him." So,
Just went off the rails.
so she does in her regards as well, and attributes to you everything that you've accomplished over the last 8 years in dealing with the school system. We love you. You'll always be my brother, and I'm not gonna go anymore because this is crazy.
Yeah.
Emotional roller coaster that I'm dealing with right now.
Yeah.
Thanks, man.
Thank y'all. It's
He's really worried because he didn't have nobody to race to the meeting and see who's gonna be here first. That's what he really hurt about.
Or the many times that someone conveniently left one of your good numbers off the text thread.
Or who eat 4 plates.
Don't tell Elizabeth I ate this.